Hey, hello. Gosh, it's boring in the NSL at the moment. Um, but here I am, still thinking about it, still talking about it. I have a few insider article ideas, um, mulling around in the old head, and I had some time to even get on camera, and I was thinking of talking about teams that um are risers and teams that are fallers, and that sorry, to explain what that is. A team, I mean, you can evaluate it on the value as a franchise, or you can evaluate it on wins and losses. So I'll try and delineate between both, um, to explain who, if there is a faller, what's the reason? Are they going to lose wins? Are they going to lose value? Sometimes it's both. And if your team's losing in both of those areas, yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So I'm going to just share my screen. Hold on. Share. There we go. Chrome. Okay. So falling teams. So it sounds dramatic. It can be dramatic. The falling teams either are at risk of losing value, maybe through free agency, maybe through um, sort of cycling out of a window, injuries, something like that. So that would cause a team to uh, not be able to match the heights of last season. I would consider that a falling team. So instantly, there will be teams that maybe come to mind that have gone through a bit of a reshuffle of players. I would consider them falling teams. Okay, so the first teams that I'm looking at are the falling teams. And then we're going to consider the rising teams as well, which is the opposite. That's a team that is going to win more games than last season. So it's a bit more obvious with the rising teams because you can have the teams that were working very hard to lose games last season. They're very likely to add wins. Younger players maturing, very likely to add wins. Uh, all in kind of deals, signaling the end of a rebuild to trying to contend a lot easier to um, become a rising team. So I'm just going to go to, hold on, what's going on? Why can't I find you? We might just use this. Here we go. Go to our beloved website, if it will work. Oh man, don't tell me it's not, it's not gonna load. That's crazy. All right, hold on for one moment. I'm just going to stop the share, figure out what's going on. All right, it's finally worked. Okay, so we'll go back into share. So remember, we are looking at, I'm identifying who I think the falling teams will be, and I will explain. I'll explain to you why I think that. All right, so this is our beautiful website that Pete has crafted like Michelangelo and marble. It's just it's his Sistine Chapel. It's beautiful. I spend even more time on it, I think, because it's just so nice to look at and to use. But we're going to go to the teams list because we are trying to find the teams that I think will be fallers. So we're running a little bit slow, but that's okay. We can wait. I think there'll be no more than four or five. I've got who in mind who I think is it most risk of becoming a falling team? Teams. It's letting me down. Let's try it this way. Is it a sharing thing? Let me just check. No, it's still not loading. Interesting. All right. I think I've got a different link going now. Okay, let's try again. Share. There we go. Share Chrome. Okay. So we are on the teams list here. As I said, I think I'm going to try and identify maybe five falling teams and then explain why I feel that way. The two who I'm most concerned about as falling teams are alphabetically the last two. So we might start with Washington. So please load roster. If not, I'll just have to speak from memory. Yeah, it really doesn't want to do that, does it? Is it? It's weird. It's just not. It's not even trying to load. That's frustrating. All right, we're just gonna go from memory then. Yep. Okay. Oh, that we've worked. Excellent. So it's just going very slow. So I just have to be patient. So let's go and check out the Washington Wizards because and I don't mean to be blasphemous because he is a champion. He has had a very, very strong team, but if the dice rolls a particular way, I see the Wiz as yeah, very much a falling team. Um, and I'll explain why. So very much still in their window last year. They started as soon as you start looking sideways and not ahead. Speaking from experience, that is as a sign that maybe the good times are slowly coming to an end in terms of contending. It happens to me. I've seen it happen to a few teams over this off-season break. And even though the Wiz haven't chosen to end, it just feels like it might be here. And if LeBron James re-signs and stays, they're good to go again. They'll be one of the top teams in the East. But particularly if he leaves, I think the Wiz would be at real risk of maybe not even making the East playoffs. Now, LeBron James signed for the minimum or close to it. So there is a chance that he will come up very close to the end of free agency. Okay. Now he holds a $58 million cap hold for the Wizards, which, if we scroll down here, sits him at, yeah, at the first apron, pretty much, of salaries. Now, obviously, Josh, not he, Josh will gain a lot of cap space upon LeBron James either re signing or signing elsewhere. But if he renounces him, he will not have any loyalty bonus, which could be the difference between signing him or not. So his hands are tied. He doesn't have any big salaries to move. Trey, Trey was a buy low. No one's coming after Trey. Booker, I think, retires in Washington at this point. And then you look at the rest of the roster, and it does not look like a contending roster at the moment. Um, Cardwell, yeah, he's rated 77, but that was like he was a two-way guy last season. Devin Carter, he got from the Celtics. Jalen Wells, 79, is probably the best supporting piece he has. Obviously, Capella is the best supporting piece, but he's spoken for. Proctor, Battle, Pickett, Sanders. Yeah, it just doesn't. It's a team that could do okay when if LeBron returns, but if he doesn't, and Josh has kind of got all this cap space, but he's missed out on the free agents. He'll have some space to pick from those above MLE guys who are left over. But it's just really unfortunate timing that the valuable guys above the MLE will be gone. So yeah, I just think if James leaves, I think the Wiz are in a really rough spot, and they don't have their pick this year, next year, or the year after. So there's going to be some decisions made. But look, I hope Josh gets to re-sign LeBron and the Wiz can have one more go at it. But they got some young pieces with a little bit of upside, but it just doesn't look like a contending roster. Prove me wrong, Josh. The other one, oh sorry, and I mentioned it before, and this is probably a bit more topical. This team. It's been in the news a lot over the past 6 months. We had a GM swapping over halfway through the season to take over the seat that was left by Jace when he quit. They're currently in the middle of a campaign to get out of a minus 66 GM point debt, and that's the Jazz. Um, Very talented, incredibly talented team, and Craig took some steps last season to lop off a bit of that elite talent, but on really expensive contract talent to balance the roster a bit more. So you can see down the side heaps of players 80 or above, 79 or above, which is yeah, it shows that he has a lot of depth on this roster. Um, but huge luxury tax bill, huge. Obviously, these are just big cap holds that they'll be reduced. That's fine. Yeah. So maybe the fine's not as big of an issue as getting to zero and then having to close all of these trades that he have been set up. Then having to handle their free agency where they have, I mean, these three, Biombo, Looney, and Dybul are probably gone because they were gone in real life. Harden and Reeves could be stolen by other teams. They have re-signed bonuses, but that only gets them halfway there. So maybe Craig trades for more GM points. I'm not sure, but if something goes wrong during free agency, and Craig's already announced that this is his last season, I believe, which is sad, but I understand. Then it becomes a team that relies on Embiid and Harden or Embiid and Reeves to win games, and it starts to look a lot more shaky, even shakier than it might already be. And you scroll down. So the Jazz have their own pick this year, and then not in 28 and not in 30. So they've got a lot of their own picks still. Jace never really traded his picks out. Um, so Jazz, I think, I'm not saying they're going to fall, but I think the most likely call would be there's going to be a little bit of struggle. If one of these things doesn't work out, I think it's really going to nerf the roster. So yeah, I've got Wizards as a high potential of falling if LeBron doesn't re-sign and if there's not a lot of GM points coming into Utah. I think they're in at risk of falling as well if something catastrophic happens in free agency. Um, Falling teams, OKC. So I've spoken to the new GM in messages once. I have no idea what their goals are with this roster. Still lots of talent, but it doesn't fit really well. And yeah, the new GM doesn't seem to have made any inroads into any deals. Maybe he's just taking an off season off, but he's only just got here. So, uh, yeah, give him a chance to prove himself, but nothing has happened with this team. I've asked about a couple of players and I haven't heard anything back. Um, Starting lineup of Fox, Bridges, Mitchell, Turner, and Hunter, probably. The talent is there, but it just doesn't seem like an imposing team. And this OKC team was leading the West for most of last season. So, yeah, I don't know. New GM, rookie GM, sorry. Not a hit the ground running kind of start in trying to make any changes, but maybe that's by choice. So, I don't know. I just think OKC might have peaked last year. But they've still got two elite guards to build around, so we will see. But if I scroll down, like Grimes has got a big cap hold, but like look at that. Guaranteed salary 203 million. Landale's coming back. Don't know what they're doing with Grimes. Yeah, they're over the first apron. So yeah, I think OKC won't reach the heights that they did last season. My next possible falling team. No, safe. Maybe there's only one other one. Yeah, I think there's only one, and it's a little bit by design. So, um, I talked about so the Wizards have that falling risk of both roster value and wins, same as the Jazz. So if they lose, if free agency doesn't go their way, then their whole portfolio is taking a hit, including the wins, which brings value to your team in it if you value that metric. Um, OKC, all of their assets are secure, but we just saw the tail end of OKC's season last year. They were not playing like the top seed in the West. So I think their expectations are just much lower this year. So their value, their falling hit is in the wins category. Now, Cleveland have gone out strategically to retool, at the very least, retool, possibly rebuild. So they have shipped off Curry. And I mentioned this before with Josh and the Drew Holiday trade. And I can't remember, what did he get for Trey Young? Oh, that was Drew and sorry. That was Drew and Robert Williams. That's right. So as soon as your head starts to look sideways as a contender, it's kind of over once you start not just powering ahead. And that moment for Shams last year was when he traded Barnes. So he got good value, but he weakened his team. And it was the first move he'd made in a long time that wasn't building the team up. So he is now to cash in on the value, I suppose, of downgrading Barnes. He's now downgrading his roster and trying to grab as much as many assets for the portfolio as he can. So you can see his best plays Randall. Garland is a really nice piece. Like he's got great role players. I know he's got some other moves to make as well. I don't know who's coming in, but it reminds me of when I broke my team down and it's just an influx team. He's not trying to lose necessarily. He's not building to win. You're just in this middle area. So guaranteed the Cavs are not winning as many games as last season. I think the season before they won over 60. So they really did have a sort of contending moment. But now trading off his best players, you can see that it's just by choice. It's a roster influx. So he is highly valuing picks, and you can see he's done a great job. He has six, seven, eight, nine first round picks and five second round picks. So lots to play with over the next few seasons. And interesting to see what he does, how much more he can downgrade the roster and who he wants to keep. So my fallers, if I was going to nominate four teams, it's Washington, it's Utah, it's OKC, and it's Cleveland. Now, if I check the risers, so maybe we will go four again. So let's check the risers. So just to reclassify, qualify what counts as a riser, same metrics. So you could be in line to win a lot more games. This could be due to trades you've made, injured guys you're getting back, um, strategy changes, anything like that, maturation, anything like that. So if I go to the list here, if I'm talking dramatic rises, like Atlanta will get better. Boston will rise because Tatum's back, but they're pretty much the same team. Now, I'm going to go Brooklyn. So Brooklyn, they seem to give us false hope every year, but I feel like someone like Brees is someone I talk to a lot, and I feel like he's never been this locked in and motivated to really figure his team out. I know he's every day he's still busy offering trades to people, crunching the salary. So the Nets really struggled last year, and I think not only do they look a lot better on paper, um, they will be a lot better. Like very tall, elite big man pairing, and he's just working hard to put pieces together to bring in one more talented guard, and then I think that the roster really does fit together. Um, so Nets, I think they what barely 20 wins last year. Like I think they will comfortably. I know they've proven us wrong before, but I think they will comfortably improve on that. So they will be a riser. Denver. Okay. So Denver last year had injuries. Sabonis was out nearly all year. But they were still doing a good job. They were still going to be a playoff team, and Digger made a choice. I can't remember if it was through temptation or through a choice of his own to kind of hit the pause button. So as soon as he was able to find a deal for Donovan Mitchell, he was then able to kind of put the team into cryo and get very creative to lose a lot of games. So when you look at the roster full strength, I think the top 8, 9 fit together so nicely. So let's imagine if I was going to run this team, I've got Kyrie at point guard, who is incredible in 2K. I have Clay Thompson at shooting guard, who, yeah, he's fading, but he still plays the role and fits next to Kyrie. I have Michael Porter Jr. at small forward, terrific scorer, terrific offensive player, I should say, but really tall, really good 2K build. Jalen Johnson, breakout star, um, 90 rated. So they've got two guys in the 90s. And if I was Digger, I'm running Qatar as the starting center. So all of that fits together on paper really nicely. And then I have this beast of a six man in Sabonis. So he can play both positions with the big man and soak up 20 plus minutes off the bench. Collier, backup point guard, 82 overall, would give them a point guard advantage over most teams off the bench. And he's a great size. Max Christie, 77 overall off the bench. So that's three above average bench players. No, sorry. And Sabonis, it's like the best six man in the league. Um, and then he has any one of these other wings that he's drafted. So like Cameron Carr, shooting guard, or Nate Ament, small forward, could soak up those minutes. Spencer Jones coming back, he could soak up those minutes. I think the Nuggets will be really good. And I think they sunk all the way to like the 10th worst record last season. Um, if Digger locks in, I think that team will be really hard to beat, and they'll be so good at offense. So Denver are my pick to just swing back straight away. I think they handled their trades last year really well, and that's a really good compliment for a team that doesn't do a lot of trading. So they're my big riser. Like Golden State were good last year, Houston were good last year. Detroit can't be worse than they were last year, but I think she's really taking this slowly. So I don't think he's trying to rise up too much. Maybe he doesn't have his pick. If he has his pick, it'll be slow. If he doesn't have his pick, it'll be he'll be looking for wins. Clippers, yeah, they should be really good. I think the Clippers, but I say this every year. At some point, the team on paper has to catch up to the other team. So the big riser, like Memphis will tack on wins. Riser. I mean, New Orleans, once again, they worked very hard. Yeah, I'll call New Orleans a riser. Not only did they win one of the best draft hands I can remember, they have Dame coming back. So they've got all these great young talents, but if they want to decide to win games, they can let Damian Lillard play, and they have an elite 2K guy. Pardon me. They have an elite 2K guy that is a known commodity and can carry a team on offense. So New Orleans definitely rising. Who else do I think riser? Philly. Philly ultimately have just gone all in on 2K vets who are really good and have kind of bought low on guys who have injury risks. But gee, on paper, that team looks amazing if they're all playing. To have Davis, Zinger, Butler, Murray, yeah, crazy good team. So they need it to go right health wise. But other than that, yeah, Philly definitely could be a riser. Um, I mean, speaking of ourselves, I think Portland only won maybe 43 games last year, but we halfway through the season we traded our whole team. So Surely we're winning more than 43 games, so I might nominate myself. And that's probably it. Like the Risers, Portland, Philly, New Orleans, and who did I say? And Denver and Brooklyn. And then the fallers were Washington, Utah, OKC, and who did I say? OKC and who else was the faller? I can't remember. Washington, Utah, OKC, Cleveland. That's the one, Cleveland. Okay. All right. So that was rises and fallers. I was a bit all over the place, so hopefully you got something out of it. Uh, it was nice to analyze these teams and some really fun rosters. And look, I wasn't trying to pick on the fallers. I hope the chips fall the way they want them to, but I just think they have a lot of risk sitting on these unknowns. And if it doesn't pay off, I think they're really going to struggle to stop value and wins kind of leaking out from all over the place. So we'll see how it goes. So thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Hopefully this was somewhat interesting and useful if you were listening on the drive home or something like that. So hang on, like it's the horrible, cold, boring off season. But if you're off enjoying yourself, great. If you're still hanging around like an addict, like I am, hopefully you enjoyed it. Thank you. See you.